The autumn breeze rustled through Central Park as I walked home from my doctor's appointment, my hand instinctively resting on my still flat stomach. At 32, I was finally pregnant with my first child. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. I had just made partner at my law firm, and Richard, my husband of 2 years, had recently opened his own architectural practice. Everything will be different this time, I whispered to myself, hoping that my pregnancy might finally bridge the decades-long gap between my mother and me. I pulled out my phone and dialed my sister's number. Catherine picked up on the second ring. "Maggie, I was just thinking about you. How did your appointment go?" "Kathy, I'm pregnant, 6 weeks along." My sister's joyful squeal made me smile. "Oh my God, this is wonderful. Mom and Dad need to know right away. Come over for dinner tonight. I'll cook." Catherine's enthusiasm was contagious, but anxiety still gnawed at my stomach. Mom had always favored Catherine, the perfect daughter who followed in her footsteps as a successful realtor. I arrived at my parents' brownstone that evening, where Richard was already waiting, having come straight from work. The familiar scent of Catherine's lasagna filled the air, but my mother's piercing gaze immediately made me tense. "Margaret, darling, you look tired. The office must be working you too hard." Her words carried their usual subtle sting, masked behind a practiced smile. The evening progressed tensely as we sat around the antique dining table that had witnessed countless family dinners. Richard squeezed my hand supportively under the table. "Mom, Dad, Richard, and I have some news to share." My voice wavered slightly, but I forced myself to continue. "Oh, let me get the champagne first. This calls for a celebration." Catherine hurried to the kitchen, leaving me alone with our parents and Richard. Dad smiled warmly, but Mom's expression had already turned cold. "We're expecting a baby. I'm 6 weeks pregnant." The silence that followed was deafening. Dad's face lit up with joy, but Mom's reaction was immediate and devastating. "Pregnant? You, Margaret? But Catherine isn't even married yet." Her words cut through the air like ice. Richard straightened in his chair, his jaw tightening.
"Victoria, that's enough. This is wonderful news."
"Wonderful? This will ruin everything. Catherine is supposed to be the first. She's the one who deserves it." What happened next was so sudden, I barely had time to react. Mom lunged across the table, her hand striking my abdomen with shocking force. The pain was immediate and intense. I doubled over, gasping. "Mom, stop! What are you doing?" Catherine's scream pierced the chaos as she returned with the champagne, the bottle crashing to the floor.
"Margaret, someone call an ambulance now."
Through my tears, I could see Dad restraining Mom while Catherine frantically dialed 911. Richard cradled me protectively, his voice shaking with anger. The fluorescent lights of the emergency room cast harsh shadows as I lay on the examination table. The steady beeping of monitors filled the sterile air. Richard hadn't left my side, his hand clasped tightly around mine. Catherine sat in the corner, her mascara streaked with tears.
"Mrs. Henderson, we'll need to do an ultrasound to check on the baby. Try to relax."
The cold gel on my stomach made me flinch, bringing back the memory of Mom's attack. I closed my eyes, trying to steady my breathing. The silence as the doctor moved the wand across my abdomen was excruciating. Richard's grip on my hand tightened.
"There's your baby. Strong heartbeat. No signs of distress. You're very fortunate."
The relief that flooded through me was overwhelming. Catherine burst into fresh tears. "Maggie, I'm so sorry. I never knew. I never realized how bad it was." A social worker entered the room, her expression gentle but professional. "Mrs. Henderson, I understand there was a domestic incident. Would you like to file a report?" Before I could answer, Dad appeared in the doorway. He looked decades older than he had at dinner.
Margaret, sweetheart, your mother. I've called a lawyer. This ends today.
His voice broke on the last words. For the first time in my life, I saw my father cry. As I lay there, surrounded by my true family, memories of my childhood began flooding back. Memories I tried so hard to suppress. The hospital room faded away as my mind drifted back to a Christmas morning 25 years ago. I was 7, and Catherine was 10. The tree was perfectly decorated. As always, Mom insisted on everything being just so. The presents beneath it told their own story of favoritism.
Look what Santa brought.
I remembered Mom's voice, artificially bright as Catherine opened her gifts. Designer clothes, the latest toys, everything a child could want.
Catherine, darling, this dress is perfect for the country club's New Year's party. You'll look just like a little lady.
Then came my turn. I opened the plainly wrapped package to find practical clothes from the discount store.
These are more suitable for you, Margaret. We have to be practical after all.
The pattern continued through the years. Catherine joined the cheerleading squad, while I found solace in the debate team.
Really, Margaret? Debate? Wouldn't you rather try out for cheerleading like your sister? No one wants to marry a girl who argues.
My teenage years were marked by constant comparisons. Every achievement was measured against Catherine's, every choice questioned. My best friend Rachel was the first to name what was happening.
Maggie, what your mom's doing isn't normal. My mom would never treat my sister and me differently like that.
The memories shifted to my high school graduation. While Catherine had been sent to an expensive private college, my future was already decided in Mom's mind.
The local community college will be fine for you, Margaret. Let's be realistic about your capabilities.
But that was the moment everything changed. I had secretly applied for scholarships and been accepted to Columbia Law School with a full ride. My acceptance to Columbia Law was my first real act of defiance against Mom's carefully constructed narrative of who I was supposed to be. Mom and Dad, I have been accepted to Columbia Law School with a full scholarship. I announced at dinner that evening. The silence that followed was deafening.
Maggie, that's amazing.
Catherine's genuine joy contrasted sharply with Mom's frozen expression.
Columbia? Don't be ridiculous. You'll just embarrass yourself.
Dad finally spoke up, though his voice was hesitant.
Victoria, our daughter got a full scholarship to an Ivy League school. That's something to be proud of.
Fine. Go ahead and waste your time. But don't come crying to me when you fail.
That night, I packed my bags and moved into my friend Rachel's spare room. The next few years were challenging, but transformative. Between classes, I worked as a barista at a coffee shop near campus. The early morning shifts were exhausting, but every dollar earned felt like freedom. My professors noticed my dedication. Professor Hamilton, especially, became a mentor.
Margaret, your analysis of this case is exceptional. Have you considered corporate law?
I threw myself into my studies, graduating in the top 10% of my class. Catherine attended my graduation, but Mom refused to come.
She's just busy with an important listing.
Catherine made excuses, but we both knew the truth. I met Richard during my second year at Morrison & Gates law firm. He was an architect consulting on a major development project our firm was handling. The conference room was crowded that morning, but his quiet confidence stood out. His blue eyes met mine across the table as I presented the contract revisions.
The legal framework you've outlined perfectly addresses our design concerns. Would you like to discuss it further over coffee?
That coffee turned into dinner, and dinner turned into long walks through Central Park. For the first time, I found myself sharing everything. My mother. She's always had this picture of who her daughters should be. I've never fit that image.
Maggie, listen to me. You're brilliant, compassionate, and stronger than you know. Your mother's inability to see that is her loss."
His words touched something deep inside me, a wound I hadn't realized was still raw. One evening, 6 months into our relationship, we were walking past the Bethesda fountain when Richard suddenly stopped.
"I've been carrying this around for weeks, waiting for the right moment."
He pulled out a small velvet box, and my heart stopped.
"You've shown me what real strength looks like. Would you do me the honor of becoming my wife?"
Through tears, I managed to say yes. That night, I called Catherine first. "Oh, Maggie, I'm so happy for you. Have you told Mom and Dad yet?" My hesitation must have been obvious. The following Sunday, Richard and I stood at my parents' doorstep. My engagement ring felt heavy on my finger. Catherine had arranged a family dinner, promising to be there for support. The familiar scent of pot roast filled the air as Mom opened the door.
"Margaret, we weren't expecting you. And who is this?"
Her tone was dismissive, despite having heard about Richard from Catherine. "Mom, this is Richard Henderson, my fiancé." I forced the words out, watching her face carefully. Her expression shifted from surprise to calculation.
"Fiancé? Really? And what do you do, Richard?"
"I'm an architect, Mrs. Crawford. I own Henderson Design Group."
I saw the exact moment Mom's attitude changed, when she recognized Richard's firm name from the society pages.
"Oh, the Henderson Design Group. Do come in. I'm Victoria Crawford, but you must call me Victoria."
Her sudden warmth made my stomach turn. Dad appeared in the hallway, his smile genuine.
"Welcome to the family, Richard. Margaret, you're glowing."
"Let's celebrate. I brought champagne." As Catherine hugged me, Mom pulled Richard aside.
"You know, Richard, I always knew Margaret would finally do something right."
The months leading up to the wedding became a battlefield of wills. Mom suddenly wanted to be involved in every decision, treating me like her personal project.
"Really, Margaret, you can't be serious about that dress. It doesn't flatter you at all."
Her words at the bridal boutique made me flinch. Catherine stepped in, her voice firm. "Mom, Maggie looks beautiful. This is her wedding, not yours." The tension only escalated when Richard's mother, Elizabeth, joined us for lunch to discuss the arrangements.
"Margaret dear, I found these lovely centerpieces that would match your color scheme perfectly. Oh, we've already decided on the flowers. Margaret needs guidance with these things, you see."
I watched Elizabeth's face cloud with concern as Mom continued to speak over me.
"Actually, I believe Margaret has excellent taste. She's chosen everything beautifully so far."
Later that evening, Elizabeth pulled me aside.
"Sweetheart, you know you're already like a daughter to me, don't you? Don't let anyone dim your light."
Her words brought unexpected tears to my eyes. This was how a mother's love should feel. The final straw came during the rehearsal dinner. Mom stood to make a speech, wine glass in hand.
"Well, I never thought Margaret would manage to find someone like Richard. I suppose miracles do happen."
The morning of my wedding dawned clear and bright. I stood in the bridal suite of St. Patrick's Cathedral, surrounded by the gentle rustle of silk and tulle. Catherine adjusted my veil, her eyes meeting mine in the mirror. "You look absolutely radiant, Maggie. Richard won't know what hit him." Elizabeth entered with a small blue box.
"Something borrowed, dear. These pearls were my grandmother's. They've been worn by every bride in our family."
The gesture brought tears to my eyes. Mom watched from the corner, her lips pressed thin.
"I suppose the pearls will have to do, though I had planned to give you my diamond necklace. If you'd only waited until Catherine was married first."
Catherine's reflection in the mirror showed her shocked expression. "Mom, this is Maggie's wedding day. Can't you just be happy for her?" Dad appeared at the door, his eyes growing misty when he saw me.
princess. You're the most beautiful bride I've ever seen."
As the wedding march began to play, Dad squeezed my hand.
"Ready to start your new life?"
Walking down the aisle, I saw Richard's face light up. In that moment, Mom's disapproval didn't matter anymore. The first year of marriage passed like a dream. Richard and I settled into our brownstone in Brooklyn Heights, creating a home filled with warmth and laughter. Our Sunday brunches became a tradition, with Catherine and Elizabeth often joining us. Even Dad started coming alone sometimes.
"Your mother means well. She has her own way of showing it,"
Dad would say, though his excuses were becoming less frequent. Life was falling into place. I made partner at the firm, and Richard's business was thriving.
You two remind me so much of Richard's father and me when we were young. Such a wonderful partnership.
One morning, I noticed something was different. The familiar wave of nausea hit me again. "Richard, I think we need to take a test."
"Are you sure? Could it be?"
His eyes lit up with hope and excitement. 3 positive pregnancy tests later, we sat on our bedroom floor, overwhelmed with joy.
"We're going to be parents. I can't wait to tell everyone."
But anxiety crept in as I thought about telling my mother. "A baby? Oh, Maggie, this is wonderful. Mom will have to come around now." My sister's optimism on the phone was touching, but I wasn't so sure. My bad premonition had come true, and on that day, Mom suddenly attacked me. The days following Mom's attack were a blur of medical appointments and police interviews. The restraining order was quickly granted. One afternoon, Catherine arrived at our house with a box of old family photos. I found these while cleaning out my closet. "Look at this one, your high school graduation. You were so happy that day." I studied the photograph, noticing how Mom stood apart from me, her smile forced. I was blind, wasn't I? All those years, I never saw what was happening right in front of me. "You weren't blind, Kathy. Mom made sure you didn't see it." Just then, Richard came in with some news that changed everything.
"Your father just called. He's filed for divorce."
The words hung in the air. Catherine grabbed my hand. After 35 years, I never thought he'd actually do it. That evening, Dad came over. He looked both exhausted and relieved.
"I've been a coward, Margaret. I knew something wasn't right, but I convinced myself it wasn't as bad as it seemed."
"Dad, you can't blame yourself."
"No, I can. But I promise you this. Your child will never know that kind of pain."
As my pregnancy progressed, a new kind of peace settled over our lives. The baby's room slowly took shape, painted in soft greens and yellows. Elizabeth visited often, bringing her expertise as a former pediatric nurse.
Now, this is where you'll want the changing table. Trust me, you'll appreciate having everything within arm's reach at 3 a.m.
Catherine had thrown herself into the role of protective aunt-to-be, attending every doctor's appointment she could. "A baby's kicking. Oh my God, Maggie, this is incredible." Her enthusiasm was infectious. Even Dad was transforming, showing up every weekend with another stuffed animal or baby book.
"I've been reading about grandparenting. Did you know they have classes for that now?"
We received one letter from Mom, forwarded through her lawyer.
You've ruined everything. I'll never forgive you for turning everyone against me.
The words still hurt, but they didn't have the same power anymore. You know, sometimes the family you choose is just as important as the family you're born into. He was right. Our weekly family dinners now included Elizabeth, my father, Catherine, and often Rachel, my friend from law school. The love in our home was palpable, growing stronger with each passing day. The November morning I went into labor, the first snow of the season was falling outside our window. Richard's steady presence anchored me through 18 hours of labor, while Catherine and Dad took turns pacing the waiting room.
One more push, Mrs. Henderson. Your baby is almost here.
With one final effort, our daughter entered the world, her strong cry filling the delivery room.
She's perfect, Maggie. Absolutely perfect.
Tears streamed down my face as they placed her in my arms. She had Richard's nose and my brown eyes. Oh, Maggie, she's beautiful. What's her name? Grace Elizabeth Henderson. Dad approached the bed slowly, his eyes brimming with tears.
She looks just like you did when you were born. My beautiful granddaughter.
6 months later, we gathered for Grace's christening. The church was filled with our chosen family, Elizabeth beaming as godmother, Catherine cooing at her niece. Sometimes I still thought about Mom, wondering if she ever regretted her choices. But looking at Grace, I knew I'd broken the cycle.
You're an amazing mother, Margaret. Grace is so lucky to have you.
Holding my daughter close, I realized that healing comes in many forms. Through Grace, I had found not just motherhood, but redemption. Our story wasn't perfect, but it was real. And in the end, that's what matters most.